For rounds 2 and 3 of the ARX2 Championship, the DirtFish Motorsports team makes our way up to Canada to run at the historic Formula 1 track in Trois-Rivières, which is just a bit north of Montreal. The event got underway on Friday with a really great parade with all the race cars to downtown Trois-Rivières, where they have a big street party, freestyle motocross bikes, drifting demonstrations down on the pier, just tons of fans, autograph signing, just a great way to get the event started. Practice started for us on Saturday morning bright and early. We had 3 rounds of practice, 4 laps each.
So we just got here to Canada, first time driving this track here, for me at least. Some of my teammates have driven it. Connor's driven it 2 years ago. But we got out there, had a good 8 laps, 2 practice sessions. We have 1 more left today. I gained about 2 seconds on the second practice session, so that was basically just braking a little later, being a little smoother with my inputs, talking to my coach a little bit. But the track feels really good. It's going to get rutted up a bit. It's really grippy, it's really fast, the longest straight of the whole season. You're at the top of 6th gear, which is about 105 miles an hour, so that's awesome. You're hard on the brakes, you're really pushing the cars as much as you can. It's a proper rallycross track, and we're really excited to be here actually driving it.
By the 3rd round of practice, everybody was pretty well on the pace that they were going to be for the weekend. First round of qualifying, the positions are set by a seeded draw. So James drew for round 1, qualifying 1. He had a great start. He was in 2nd after turn 1, held that for 2 laps, took his joker on the 3rd lap, which put him back to 3rd. Unfortunately made a mistake on the final lap, clipped the wall, damaged the front steering, and finished that race 20 seconds behind 4th position in 5th. For qualifying 1, round 2, we had Fraser, Connor, and Scott. Connor got a perfect start, led from start to finish, won by nearly 4 seconds over the rest of the field. Fraser didn't have as much luck in Q2.
Start of the first heat, we were starting 2nd, and we got a decent start and kind of got sandwiched in between 1st and 3rd place, and that kind of made me ride upon his side, and once the back got kicked up in the air, that was the end of my race. So really unfortunate start to my weekend. We got 2 flats in both practices, and we really haven't gotten a good chance to open up the car and the track and see my potential and get a good time down. But I'm really hoping these guys will get the car ready for the next heat, and we're going to go back out there with a clear mind.
In Q2 round 1, Scott, James, and Fraser both lined up on the 5-wide start. They all got away from the start pretty well. We had 3 cars in line, with Scott in 1st, James in 2nd, and Fraser in 3rd. But unfortunately, Fraser spun in turn 3, which bumped him back to 4th, and that's how they finished. Connor started his race in Q2 like he has been all weekend, with great start. Slotted in a 2nd behind Christian Brooks. They battled for a few turns. Connor got the best of him in turn 4, pulled away for the win by almost 4 seconds. For Q3, the rain came in just as the cars were starting to grid up before the start. We didn't have any chance to change onto rain tires, so the boys went out on slicks. Picoy was trying really hard to get around Connor, pushed him wide. Connor hit the wall and broke a wheel, which took him out of that race. Scott slotted in behind Picoy and ended up finishing P2.
Yeah, qualifying went pretty well for the most part. Started off not great in the first one, but made up for it with a win in the second. Definitely, that was good. So Q3, we ended up 3rd, but I think that should put us about 3rd going into the semifinals.
This event is run in conjunction with World RX, so it's a very, very densely packed weekend. Due to the extremely condensed schedule and it being a doubleheader weekend, the organizers decided to limit the qualifying rounds to only 3 for both days. A strong performance in qualifying can really set you up for a great starting position in the semifinal rounds. Unfortunately for Fraser, a day of bad luck saw him start from the back row of the first semi. With all the mechanical issues on his car from the 2 big incidents he had, the driver's door opened on track, and it was very distracting for Fraser to reach over and keep the door closed on those hard right-hand corners. Unfortunately for Fraser, he couldn't make it all the way up to 3rd, finished the race in last, and didn't make the final. For Semi 2, we had Connor on pole, Scott in 2nd, and James in 3rd. Scott got a great start, led the pack into turn 1, and Connor in 2nd. Unfortunately for Scott, a small mistake starting lap 2 in turn 1. He spun the car, allowing Connor, James, and the rest of the field to get through. Connor struggled with a slightly unstable car due to a bent rear suspension arm for the whole race, but was able to hold first position until the finish. James battled hard to finish the race in P3, which gave him the final transfer spot to the main event. For the final, Connor's hard work all day put him on pole. James started P5. Starting from the back row is always tough. James got a pretty good start, decided to take his joker early to give himself some clear track and fight his way up for a better position. But unfortunately for James, he couldn't make up any positions and ended the race in P5. Connor got a great start, led the pack into turn 1, drove smart, consistent, won the race by 3 seconds.
The car was a little bent up from the semi-final and we didn't have time to fix it, but the DirtFish team did all that they could and they gave me the best car that they could, and we went out there and killed it. So we got out front on the first lap and just ran our race. We had to stay consistent. The track was changing every second because it was raining, not raining, and there was holes here and holes there, but we finished the day in P1 and now it's time to get ready for tomorrow.
With all the damage throughout the day, it made for a pretty late night for the DirtFish Motorsports crew. Everybody pulled together, got the job done. We were able to get back to the hotel, get a little bit of sleep to start early in the morning for round 3 of the ARX2 Championship. Sunday started with just a 2-lap warm-up. This is just enough time to shake the cars down after a long night of repairs. The team replaced the clutch in Connor's car Saturday night. A 2-lap warm-up is not enough time to get the clutch broken in properly. Qualifying round 1 started immediately after the warm-up. Connor unfortunately struggled off the start in Q1 and ended up P4. The remaining 3 cars were in Q1 round 2.
The DirtFish guys were up all night working. They really got the car up to scratch again, so I can work with the package. Just finished Q1 in 3rd place, and we're leaving yesterday far behind us, and we're only going forward from here.
Due to the poor finishing position of Connor in round 1 and the slower overall race time in round 2, we find all 4 of our guys in the bottom half of the field with time to make up to move forward. For Q2 round 1, James found himself on pole with Fraser in 2nd and Scott starting on the outside in P5. Scott nailed the start, drove around the outside of everybody and entered turn 1 in 1st.
Q2 went really well. Yeah, after Q2 finishing 1st, I think that should put us in a good position for the 3rd. We'll see, I don't know yet, but yeah, anyway, the DirtFish car is awesome. It's really hauling, it feels really hooked up. So I'm really proud of the guys for getting the car back together last night.
For Q2 round 2, Connor found himself in that unfavorable outside position at the start. While chasing Picoy for 3rd, Picoy's car started to smoke and eventually let go on lap 3. Connor worked his way through the pack to finish 2nd behind Christian Brooks. For Q3 round 1, James started from pole.
So starting P1 and Q3 is always a great thing. We got up to the grid and I noticed that Cole was having some issues. Cabot actually had a fire on the way to the grid, and Picoy blew an engine in Q2. So we knew that it was going to be at least only a 3-car race. When Cole was having issues as well, we got up to the grid and we thought, you know, let's just run a really clean race. So we got out front from the start and just ran a clean race the whole time. You know, it was just qualifying. You know, we put some fast times on. That's all we needed to do, and it gave us a good spot for the semi.
Fraser started semi 1 from inside of row 2. He didn't get the greatest of starts, found himself in position 4. Persistence pays off. Fraser was able to pass Karpov on lap 5 for that last transfer spot to the main event. With our other 3 cars starting semi 2 and only the top 3 finishers going on to the main event, we'd have to sweep the podium to have a successful weekend. And that's exactly what we did. Connor got a great start, jumped out to the lead and never looked back, finishing P1. James drove smart and consistent, finishing P2. Scott had a turn of good luck when Cole Keats had a mechanical issue and finished P3, putting all 4 DirtFish cars in the main event. Connor lined up on the outside of Christian Brooks in P2, and James on the outside of Alex Keys in P4, and Fraser and Scott filling out the back row in 5 and 6. James was fighting a small clutch issue which made the car quite difficult to launch. He didn't get off the line well, slotted into 4th just in front of Scott and Fraser. Connor got a decent start, but wasn't able to pull Christian going into turn 1. Did the smart thing and slotted in behind him. The two had been battling all weekend. Christian would pull away from him going down the front straight, but Connor always made the time back up within the first 2 corners of the dirt section.
So we started the final in P2. We ran behind Christian for 3 laps. We raced hard. We were right behind him. We knew we were faster, so we just kept our head down and kept rushing, and he made a mistake on the 4th lap, and we were able to capitalize on it and sneak on the inside. We took the joker, got in a clear track, and brought it to the finish.
This is an exciting time for DirtFish Motorsports, with Connor winning all 3 rounds so far. We have a great setup for COTA. Our cars are fast. We have a great team behind Connor and everybody else. We'll have everybody gunning for us. We just have to do all that we can.